Welcome back, y'all, to another episode 46, 45 and a half, 45 and a half low key, episode 46 of the Spittin Hoops podcast. Uh, I'm here. I'm Max. This is Anthony. Uh,
You guys.
I can't hide what team he's a fan of, given the shirt. So he's got Cleveland at 5, obviously.
Of
If
course.
no, Cleveland at 6, actually. Can't even be.
I have Cleveland in 5. I'm gonna protest one of the wins.
Okay, but we're here to break down the latest, the greatest in the National Basketball Association. I don't have a more creative intro than that. Anthony, what are you gonna say?
Bro, let's celebrate good times. These are great playoffs right now.
Honestly, 10 out of 10 playoffs. I've been thoroughly enjoying myself uh,
Hey, yo. Me
while
too.
watching
Me too.
playoffs. Um, but let's just jump right into it. Honestly, we got to talk about the Thunder and the Mavericks. 2-1 in that series, obviously, right now. Um, uh, the Thunder won game one. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Um, and the Mavs have won both games since. Uh, to be honest, it's been kind of quirky. Obviously, game one, the Thunder just absolutely slammed the Mavericks, and we saw a big gap there. I'm talking on the pod like, oh, the Thunder are gonna beat the T-Wolves to go to the finals. In reality, we're probably not going to see either of those teams there. I mean, pretty convincing performances all around from the from the Mavericks since that first game. You had a horrible Luka game in game one, and you haven't necessarily had like 11 out of 10 Luka games. You haven't had a Luka 60 pointer, 50 pointer. But the Mavericks have just looked really good off the back of PJ Washington, etc.
It totally is gonna say the same thing about PJ. I think he's third in points scored for this entire series after SGA and who's the second one? I forget who the second guy
And
is.
Luka. He's only scored 6 less points than Luka, I think, this series.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
dude. And like Luca finally had like a solid scoring game in game two, but just not really still not shooting the ball amazingly and they're getting it done. Um I think the Thunder look a little bit nervous in the clutch time right now. That was like the big thing that I noticed where for the first time it looked like Shea was a little bit shaky at the very end of the of game three, but that's just like the inexperience talking.
100%. And like, unfortunately, this hasn't been like an A+ Chet series. I kind of expected him to be more dominant against the Dan Gaffers and Derek Lively's of the world, especially with no like Maxi Kleber who can take you into like a 5-out offense, which was something I was concerned about the Mavs not being able to do. And honestly, they've been pretty fine. Like the Mavericks. Chet's basically averaging 14 and 7 in this series. I spent all of last podcast roasting Evan Mobley, and he was doing better than that against teams with maybe better front
Okay.
lines. Yeah. And like that's no disrespect to the Mavs guys. I mean, Dan Gafford has actually been really good in this series so far, like 2.5 blocks a game. He's not playing a ton too. I think he's only played like 50, 60 minutes. So like maybe third or fourth on the team. But they kind of have the Mavericks minutes makeup has really been Kyrie, Luca, PJ dominant, and the rest. And Gafford of the rest of the guys has been really good. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally valid. I think they also just have that experience, right? That's a little bit stronger. Looking at the minutes right now, yeah, Dan Gafford and Lively kind of splitting minutes, 73 and 61 apiece. And they don't look like they're playing as well as they could, which is I think interesting. What you had the Thunder in 6 and I had the Thunder in 7
Yeah,
after the first game.
I think so. That
Bro,
honestly, we might have got baited because I originally had like the Thunder in 7. And then after the first game, I'm like, oh, Thunder in 6, maybe even Thunder in 5. Like I was talking crazy.
yeah.
And we haven't even gotten like Luca's been better, obviously, in these latter two games, but like he's not like Shea has been the best player in the series, probably.
Yeah, of course. He's been unreal. Great efficiency. 3 games, what's he averaging? He has 93 points. He's like 30, 10, and 8. Um, but yeah, just a kind of weird series. Doesn't look like, but I think there's something about the Mavs, dude, that just seems like Luca has kind of feels like he's been through this. If he makes it to the conference finals, is this going to be 2 out of 3 years where he's made the conference finals, the third round?
Yeah, I mean, probably like the way they were playing. Again, this really does not feel like this feels Luca's playing worse than he did 2 years ago.
Mm.
And
In the
I've been critical, and I don't think I'm the only one who's been pretty critical of like the Mavericks supporting cast. But I mean, those moves that they made at the deadline are coming good right now. I mean, frankly, PJ Washington's been like probably the third best player in the series. I mean, realistically, he's probably been the fourth. I think Kyrie has still been better than PJ in its totality. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
PJ's shooting 60% from the field. Like,
dude, he's unreal, and he came into this series as so. If we were saying normally Shea, J-Dub, Chet are definitely better than him. And then Luca, Kyrie, I might have said Gafford at the time. So eighth best player at the very best, seventh best player, and he's playing like top 3, top 4 player in the series. So that's the swing, kind of.
I will say we're probably not giving J-Dub enough shine. I mean, he's been fine in this series, but like the percentages look better than the gameplay, I think. Like he's shooting 45-45, field and three, but
Mm.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
he's not playing bad.
yeah, it hasn't been super like impactful. Honestly, like this is a really weird series. If the Thunder rattled off three straight, I would not be overly surprised. Like I kind of feel like there's some room here. By the way, we talked about this last podcast a little bit. Josh Giddey's gone. Like he's got 41 minutes this whole series. I think that's ninth or 10th on the Thunder. Um, so first of all, I can't wait for the offseason because there's no shot he's sticking around if this is what's going on. Like he's basically Zaza Pachulia, bro. This is ridiculous. But he's a guard and he was a top 10 pick like a few years back, right? But I'm really curious to see if we get like, we're already getting a little bit more of Isaiah Joe, but like, do we get more Isaiah Joe? Do we get more of like Jalen Williams playing the four or the playing the five next to Chet and J Dub? Like stuff like that. I do really like those lineups actually. The Chet, Jalen, J Dub, and then you get a shooting guard and Shea. Um,
Mm.
I really like those lineups, but I'm curious to see. I think there's a lot of adjustments. The Thunder always have a lot of adjustments because they just have way too many good players hanging around on the
Yeah,
team, right? But
right.
I'm curious to see if they even work out because the Mavericks are firing right now, frankly.
Yeah. Um, bro, I feel like the Thunder are just one big body away from like seriously controlling this game. Like seriously, yeah. Like they're very wing heavy and they can go small. But if they make it to the next round, what are they going to do against like like the 3 6'10" guys on the other side?
But then I would low key argue like I think they're missing. If you have Paul George on this team, like, are we even having that convo? Like, is Paul George like? Can you at that point? And this is also Chet's rookie year, right? So like, this is another thing. So like, Chet's gonna get bodied by all these big men. Like, but
Right.
long term, Chet is a center, and like, I'm fine with playing Chet at the five and looking way too ahead to the offseason. If you can go get a really good shooting guard, a really good small forward who's still a big body who can help out down low, I still think that might be the best route. And then you go get a bench, like a worse version of Nick Claxton off the bench. But like, I don't know.
You get a Valanciunas.
Yeah, because I would still like their main lineup to be Chet at the five. I actually don't. I'm watching this series. I still like. I'm fine with it. But like, there needs to be a little bit more offensive creativity and like shot creation. I guess shot creation, shot making, not just shot creation. Because they already have shot creators. They just need shot makers. But like, yeah, that's it. Funnily enough, if I was a Thunder GM, like I'm not rolling in this offseason trying to add Rudy Gobert.
Not Rudy Gobert, but somebody that can play a little bit of offense and just be a big body. Because I'm just curious, like what they're gonna do when they go up against that size. I mean, it's true, like having another great scorer is going to be helpful, But I think at the end of the day, like the big thing about the Timberwolves is their size and their length. Hey yo. And then with the with the Nuggets, you just have the best player in the world right now, absolutely balling.
I mean that is fair. Maybe I'm just like kind of cooling off on the Thunder for this year. I don't want them to like I don't know. I
Number
would
one
like
seed, super young, making a splash in the playoffs. It's a little adversity. I mean, it's not like they've played like they lost these games and they were close and they could have won both of these games. So like I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. It's not like they don't have answers for the Mavs,
yeah.
but we'll see.
I'm trying to yeah. I really think these Jalen Williams lineups, I think we will see more of them. I'm really curious because he's too
Mhm.
big of a he's 250 pounds, bro. Like he's too big of a body down low to just if you're getting bodied down low to just leave on the
Mhm.
bench. Especially when Chet can play off of another center. And I thought those lineups have not been that bad, but I feel like they really tend to stay away from them. But
Sure, yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
You want to move on to the next series or
Let's
predictions? Do you
do
have any predictions here?
it. Oh man, I keep flip-flopping, but I think I had Mavs before the series started, and then I switched, and so I'm gonna like just keep reverse jinxing myself and switch back and say Mavs in seven, just for the experience factor of it. But this probably means I'll be wrong again. What do you think?
So like yeah, I want to stick to my guns and say the Thunder. Like I'm really trying to find a route here to stick to my guns, but uh like Luca still hasn't even loaded fully. Like I don't know. That's kind of my worry because if Luca starts dropping 35 a game for the rest of the series, like the Thunder are just gonna lose by the way the rest of the guys have been performing. Uh
Yeah,
so yeah, and Luca dropping 35 for the rest of the series is probably more likely than him not. Like honestly, as
I mean,
bad as he's been, as bad as he's been overall since the beginning of the playoffs. But
as in scoring his season average.
yeah, hey, this series is only averaging like 25 a game.
It's wild.
Terrible. No. uh, yeah, I probably honestly I'll say Mavericks in seven because if the Thunder win in seven, I can just feel like I wasn't that far off. But I'm gonna be honest, like I think there's a chance this gets done earlier. Yeah, I guess we'll find out, honestly. You want to jump over to the T-Wolves and Nuggets?
Yeah, let's do it. Real quick, just the champions stepping up and responding to the call, punching back hard in game three, and then really just a gutty win. And some of that Nuggets magic kind of came into play against a team that wasn't the Lakers for the first time in a while. Um, and that 8 point, I mean, I'm really curious what you think about that 8 point swing right at the end of the first half of game four. That was crazy. The tough three by KCP, the turnover, the steal, the dunk by MPJ, and then just, poor decision making. And Jamal hits the unbelievable shot, and that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, I mean that sequence that it was electric, first of all.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like electric. But I mean, I think that stuff happens. I don't think the T-Wolves lose because of that. I think they lost because of a lot of other things, I'm gonna be honest. I got a little laundry list, I'm gonna be honest.
All right.
Um, I think Gobert had 2 points with 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter yesterday, or maybe like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter yesterday.
Total liability on offense.
And honestly, on defense, or on offense, yeah, he's a liability. But even defensively, I don't know if you noticed, they did this thing since the Nuggets in the last pod, we were trying to devise ways how are the Nuggets going to come back, and I was kind of thinking you're going to use Jokic more in a Sabonis role where he's going to bring the ball around. But if anything, it was let's dump the ball down to Jokic and start doing a little bit more Warriors off ball movement stuff like that. And to counter that because honestly, Gobert was getting cooked in the one-on-ones. They just threw Ant onto Jokic a lot of times,
Right.
like top of the key or like even half like into the paint a little bit. Um, your star big man when you have another big man on the court in Towns, and this is also a Towns issue. Like let's be real, Towns was terrible in game four. Like he
Yeah.
was awful. Offensively, defense, all decision making. Like I can't flame Gobert for how bad Towns was, but when you have Towns and Gobert, one of the ideas is that you could put a big man on the big man and still have big man help off the back but Gobert's just getting cooked by Jokic. They got to put Ant on them so Gobert can go do the thing he's best at, which is weak side help. But it's like that's a problem. Like that's an issue because then if Gobert is getting cooked that badly on offense, he's not relevant enough defensively at that point to warrant staying in. And then on top of that, Naz Reid was getting cooked. So like Naz Reid was like -10 or -15 in this game. So like then you can't really go away from Gobert. But I don't know. It was really rough. It was really rough to watch.
Yeah, I mean, to your point on Cat, like probably 4 or 5 shots that he took over Aaron Gordon or Jokic that were so heavily contested that seemed such out of the flow of the offense. It felt like, what are you doing kind of shots, hoping that they would go and maybe get him started. Again, like you said, Gobert was getting if Gobert's getting cooked, at least when Jokic played against AD and Bam in the finals, like they at least had an offensive game to respond to that with.
Very relevant offensively, both of them.
100%. Like they both put up at least 20 points per game. They both played pretty well, forcing Jokic to use energy on the other side of the court. And that's just not happening here. So it doesn't really matter how good these players are defensively. Like we know that Jokic is going to outplay them, and he was just toying with them.
And then it's like a problem because you can't just play Cat at the 5 and play Kyle Anderson at the 4 because then Aaron Gordon's just catching backside alley-oops on you the whole game. Like
Which,
so
real quick, what can we talk about Aaron Gordon?
oh, terrific. He's incredibly impressive. I honestly can't say enough about like how fun he's been to watch too. And he's like I don't know. He has a bunch of good post game quotes about starring in his role because he
Mhm.
watches the best player on his team be unselfish every day, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that just makes me want to run through a wall. Like I want to
Mhm.
run through a wall for both of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like for both Jokic and Aaron Gordon. And I think in the last pod I actually said this. I was like, we're gonna need to get like 20-point performances basically every game from either Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter Jr. for the Nuggets to have a chance. And Aaron Gordon, I think he had 15 in game three, 30 basically in game four. Like he's at that point, he's just carrying all the slack that Michael Porter Jr. left on the court by being terrible in game four. I don't know.
Oh yeah, and he was bad, but I'm looking at right now they're shooting. Dude, Aaron Gordon, 67% from three this series and 72% from the field. Like just everything that you need. Like the guys that are touted to be the sort of second tier underneath Jokic. There's like kind of that like swirling trio of Jamal, Aaron Gordon, and MPJ, and then they all kind of pick their spots. And then, yeah, one of them has a bad game, the other two step up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it feels like is the recipe to punch back against the Timberwolves and their stifling defense.
Yeah. I agree. I'm still not convinced. Like Jamal Murray's been fine in game three and four. He's been like good. I'm still not convinced. Like he's still getting pretty strapped. And so like that's the thing. This has to continue. Like this needs to continue.
Well, the shot making in game four for Jamal Murray was unbelievable. Even though the defense, he was still getting really well defended.
Yeah, like because and I agree. The shot making was off the charts, but like for those shots, like you can't even take that many of them. Even if you're making them, like
Mhm.
you can't even put 30 shots up at that point. Like
Right.
even if you're making them, just because the defense is swarming you, you're just gonna start turning the ball over. Which he didn't do much of. I think he only had like 3, 4 turnovers in game four. But like,
Yeah, three turnovers.
yeah, like that level of shot, I'm just semi-skeptical that level of shot making is going to
Mhm.
continue throughout the rest of the series. And I'm still
Sure.
pretty impressed by the perimeter defense of Minnesota. If anything, I'm not impressed by the interior defense of Minnesota. So that's kind
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Ironically, because they were trying hard, and yeah, and then at the end of the day, Jokic is just on another level right now. Like he took this game over. How many points did he put up yesterday? 35 on extremely efficient shooting. Timely buckets too. That felt like a loud 35. You know?
he
Dominant
doesn't have
35.
he doesn't have loud 35s. It's
He
okay.
doesn't. He
Yeah.
usually doesn't. You can have
You see
40
that
minutes.
dunk? You see that dunk he threw
His
down?
dunk was crazy. All over Ant.
Dude, he was hype. That was the first time. That was like one of the. That was the first time where I kind of felt like Jokic did something to like hype up his team. Like
Mhm.
usually he would have just laid it. I literally think if that was a regular season game, same situation, he's just laying it up. But I think he was like turned. Like I think he really wants to beat these T-Wolves. Like obviously, but like there's an edge.
Something about them going down 2-0 and then he wins the MVP and everybody's clowning him.
Yeah,
And he's these days to just sit there and stew. And everybody's like, "Oh, time to go back to Serbia. Ride your horse." It is. He was
shots
pissed.
lit though.
He was like, "I would like to do that, but win chip first."
I'm so dead.
Like, y'all right. I gotta speed this up. Let's end this in 6, not 7.
No. Also, like Denver's bench now is just two man. It's two people. It's Justin Holiday and Christian Brown, and they're like basically like if we're gonna lose, we're gonna go down with our starting five playing 38 minutes game. Which big respect. Like it helps when you have a starting five like that you can afford to do that and still
Mhm.
have a really good shot. Like last pod we're talking about like I mean I mentioned that I didn't think they were going to go down and start playing Strother a bunch or something like that. Like, but really, basically limiting the bench completely is like this, and turning to Christian Brown and Justin Holiday to this extent is like been an interesting adjustment. I don't think it's changed that much, but I think it's been
I like
cool.
Justin. Yeah, I mean Justin Holiday
Played
played
good.
pretty well in game 4.
Yeah,
So if you can get that from your seventh, eighth guy for the Nuggets, that's something.
yeah, you're hyped. And like this season, this is a guy who only played like 10 minutes a game.
Hmm.
Right? So like, and he's been good. He's been good this season, but like I think last game he played 20. This is like a playoff game. He played 25 minutes last game. This is like a playoff game. Right. So he's basically going from playing like 10, 12 minutes a game in the regular season. Now he's being handed this huge role and he's stepping up. So um major respect. I'm gonna be honest. Remember last pod when I said it's over? I think it's cooked. The Nuggets they have no shot, low key. I don't think they have another adjustment. The T-Wolves do have an adjustment, and Gobert needs to have another kid.
Oh my, that's nuts. Um, I mean, he's got to work on his footwork, so maybe a second kid would help him do that. I don't know.
There,
Just didn't look good. The offense doesn't look good for the Timberwolves. I don't know. Okay, so where do you think this series is going?
I think it's going seven though. Like I still think the T-Wolves pick up a game because like as good as Gordon and MPJ are, I don't see them consistently performing like this. And Jamal Murray hasn't inspired confidence for like the game that Aaron Gordon and MPJ are off. I don't know if Jamal Murray's gonna have 35, like as he normally would. Um,
Hmm.
so I think it's going seven.
This
So yeah.
this very much feels like two people who we know are givens in the series, and then in Ant and Jokic, and then everybody else is kind of who's going to step up.
Yeah. And it's you're right. It's not going to come down to Ant or Jokic. It's like the reverse Celtics, where you're always like this the Tatum's going to take us as far as like
Right, right.
and like that's it is what it is. It's almost like the reverse. Like we know Ant and Jokic are here to fucking play. Like, and it's like is Cat going to go 4 for 20 again? Because if he does, you're going to lose. Like if Cat does another 4 for 20 night, they will 100% lose. Like it's just you can't. The Nuggets are too good to overcome something like that.
Yeah.
Bar
Uh,
injury. Bar injury.
I'll go Nuggets in 6.
Uh, yeah. Give me the Nuggets in seven.
Okay.
Yeah. Losing a 45 pointer from Ant is also rough. Like that hurt my confidence. If Ant
Right.
had 35 last night, maybe I'd feel a little
Yeah.
different. But if when you can get a performance like that from Ant, it's like pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move to the East.
Yeah.
Let's
Uh,
start with your Celtics, bro. Let's just do it. Let's just
sure.
do it. Let's get it out of the way.
Um, Man, okay, we got to move quick. My initial impressions are so we're 14 and 14 at home in the postseason in the last 2 years. We're 17 and 7 on the road. So betting looks good for another road win. I think we have done really well on the road, responding well to adversity. It is against, inferior competition, so be it. Um, yeah, I feel like we'll win this in 5. And I hope it's tough. I think we need to because Donovan Mitchell is unbelievable, and So it's sort of, can we tire him out? Can we take their punches? Can we neutralize Evan Mobley? Can we not play Horford quite as much? Maybe can we use this to get some other guys that are big in the rotation? Like to see a little Xavier Tillman, Luke Cornett. But other than that, if Tatum can be the guy too, so that's yeah. JB's have been amazing. D White needs to find a shot again. Finally, Drew Holiday scoring offense. So that's my quick thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take y'all in six just because I think the Cavs might steal another one. But like,
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest, like I'm this series has not been super inspiring to me on like yeah, on any side. I mean, you got Tatum shooting 40% and 20% like from the field and from three, which isn't it's like not ideal, but am I really gonna take that much out of a second round series against the Cavs where Tatum's not even the top scorer on his own team? Like, I'm not gonna jump to conclusions off that. Um, and frankly, I mean the Cavs, as good as Mobley's actually been since we slandered him, it's like I just don't really I don't know. I see Donnie and Mobley combining to steal a game, and I think that's about it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, would love, like you said though, would love to see more Tillman. I think this is a series where it's actually really interesting, and I don't know if like I don't know if the Celtics realize. I really think there's minutes to be had here potentially, where you're splitting Tillman and Horford, um, if you want, or things like that. And this is kind of the series where you should try to do those things, in my opinion.
Yeah. Take advantage of the lack of Jared Allen.
Yeah. So, and if it doesn't work, if it you play for 4 minutes, if it doesn't work, all right, we give it a shot. But both Horford and Tillman are physically able to shoot the three, which
Right.
it shouldn't even clog up the lane that much. And you should have some rebounding advantages, which you already do with your super athletic front line. But yeah,
Yeah, bro. I mean, we just should we should just win this, and I don't know. This is turning into the weakest Eastern Conference I've ever seen.
yeah, very,
One of
very
them.
quickly after the way the season started, where we really,
Yeah. Unbelievable. So many injuries. Now
yeah.
OG's out. I mean, yeah, let's get on Pacers Knicks unless you got anything else for Cavs Celts. You got them in six, I got them in five.
Yeah, small thing. Dean Wade is back. I actually think if he was fully healthy for like an actual stretch, like maybe he could have affected the series a little bit more for the Cavs. Like,
Yeah, he was missing yesterday. Last game, I was so happy.
well, I mean, yeah, I mean he's missed like 2 months, 3 months. His first game back is a playoff game against the Celtics. Like, good luck, my brother.
He was the one who got the Cavs back from down 20 against us in the regular season
Yeah,
in the fourth quarter. So yeah,
I forgot how good he was in that game actually.
yeah,
But yeah, he's someone in general, like just general guy. I think he'd be good on a good team.
Mhm.
Not taking too much out of the series from him.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just do Pacers Knicks though. I mean, Knicks won the first two, Pacers won the next two. A lot of injuries on the Knicks side. OG's been out. Obviously, we've already talked about Randall and Mitch.
yep.
Last
James
games,
awful.
yeah, last game specifically kind of crazy. Like, uh, Knicks just got blown out. Right, like they're down 20 basically by halftime, and turn on the third quarter, and Tim's still sending out his starters out there, and you're like, yeah, and you're like, okay, thanks, man. But yeah, so honestly, this has been a pretty quirky series. It doesn't overly surprise me that the Knicks aren't able to win games if Brunson doesn't have 40 points, just because the amount of injuries that they're facing. Um, but if your route to winning is one of your players scoring 40 points a night, and that's your point guard, like it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, where's your offense going to come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where I mean, it's DiVincenzo or maybe Josh Hart. I don't know what it is. But dude, did you hear there's a story about Josh Hart, and it's like a clip I saw this, it was like a short, and it's a video of Josh Hart shooting a half court three at the halftime against the Bucks in the regular season. And the caption is, "This shot saved Josh Hart's 3-point shooting." And he misses the three. Did you see this?
No.
So Hart was going off, but he wasn't shooting the ball very well. And apparently he heaved the ball at the end of halftime, and he felt his wrist, which had been hurting and impacting his shooting, click. And he went over to Brunson and was like, "Yo, I can shoot threes again." And since then, he's been shooting unbelievably well. And we've seen him hit all these clutch threes in these playoff games. So it was like really weird. An inconsequential half court miss made him play well.
That's super random, But
Right.
he's been sniping from three, right? And that's not Josh Hart's game, right?
Right. And so when's that faucet going to turn off? We're talking about all the lack of offensive help. Like how long can he continue this? And it seems like all the momentum has shifted completely in the favor of the Pacers.
Yeah, like you're saying with the offensive creation, I mean, if we're just going down the line right now, like of healthy players that the Knicks have, you basically just have Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, and then the fourth highest scorer on this team right now in this series is Alec Burks, who's only played in three of these games. Um, like
Well, and Hardenstein, no?
what
Hardenstein as well.
in terms of points per game.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Um,
Oof.
so that's kind of crazy. Is he gonna put up 15? The 15 that you need to like help out is Miles McBride gonna come in and give you that scoring that you need? Like I was raving about Miles McBride throughout the regular season and like on the back end of it specifically, but he's shooting like 30% in this series. It's like
Mm,
and this is also not a series for him, frankly. There's so many wing defenders and just bodies the Pacers have they can throw at everyone. It's tough. I'm worried about the Knicks, quite frankly. And on the Pacers side, sorry, we should talk about the Pacers before we move on. But on the Pacers side, I mean, it's been really pretty good performances from Halliburton. Then you have the usual suspects in the front line between Toppin, Siakam, and Turner. And then you got some good TJ McConnell games. Andrew Nembhard's been really good, a great player.
mm,
Um, they have different routes to scoring. For example, they have six guys averaging 10 points per game or higher, and none of them are named Alec Burks. So, like,
right.
I don't know. I've been pretty impressed by them as well. They also have basically nine different guys playing like significant play time in each game, which that's the difference. The Pacers kind of have so much depth, they can overwhelm the fact that the Knicks are just so injury riddled.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a well-balanced attack too.
Yeah.
To your point. Like everybody's scoring at a decent clip, good offensive percentage, and these games are showing it. I mean, they just blew them off the floor. It looked like they ran out of gas a little bit the Knicks. The minutes.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm worried. Every single player I think on the Pacers who's played like more than like 10 minutes a game in this series is shooting over 45% from three or from the field, sorry. So if every single player is being efficient, like I'm not saying that's going to continue forever, but that almost feels like a systemic thing, like energy thing, lack of energy thing, lack of bodies thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I'm worried about the Knicks, but the thing is that the Pacers still just don't have anyone like Brunson who can orchestrate and dictate as good as Halliburton is, and we've seen it in the last few games. Brunson still just has a capability to just like hold the game to his own speed that'll I don't know. I'm fairly confident they'll win one more game. So I think we might I think we might see another game seven here.
Uh, all right. Well, who do you think and then how many?
I think it'll be Pacers in seven.
Man, I hate that I'm saying this, but I tend to agree because it seems like there's one more great Brunson game at least. And unless he averages 35, I don't know where the points are coming from
Yeah.
against this high octane offense where Siakam can go off for 30, Miles Turner can go off for 20, TJ can go off for 20, Obi Toppin can go off for 20, Neesmith
Nembhard
can
will go
go
off
off
for
for
20.
yeah. So they just have so many more people. And you do have Josh Hart and Dante who can go off for 30, but that's about it. You don't even have like Hartenstein. Maybe Alec Burks, but then his defense doesn't look great. And it doesn't look like OG's coming back for a couple games. So
I'd be pretty confident to say that OG is probably out for the series. I feel like we haven't even heard any rumors.
yeah,
Like I don't know.
doubtful. So that's tough, man.
If OG was back though, that might change my calculus of saying like maybe game seven from the Pacers to the Knicks, but
Oh, if OG was back, I think that he could be a 2 game swing.
I think it's fair. I think it's totally fair. In this series, he's also like a perfect fit considering the rest of the Knicks injuries too. Like he's extremely important.
Mhm.
Um,
Unbelievably.
really big
He's
connector on offense. You can play him at the
right.
four defensively, makes sense.
For his 3 games, he was shooting 50% from three, 45 from the field, but 20 and 6. And then, great defender on so many guys that if you want to play him on Siakam for a little bit, go for it. If you want to play him on Tyrese for a little bit, go for it. and that's just a Swiss Army knife that they're going to miss dearly. So it's tough outside of Brunson, the Villanova boys. I don't know what they're going to do. So yeah, I feel like pretty confidently Pacers.
Damn. Well, I guess with that, we should probably wrap it up. That was our
All
short
right.
little episode where we ran through all the uh,
Damn.
series.
Rapid fire, baby. Oh,
Efficiency. Call me Luka Doncic. Call me Nikola Jokic.
call
Check
me
out the box
Jason
score spread.
Tatum. Let's get a win tonight. Come on,
Shoot better than 20% from three, Jason. For my boy
please.
Tony.
That happens, we're gonna win. Just because of that, he's gonna shoot 50% from three, and we're gonna lose by two.
Honestly, that kind of tracks, especially in the Cavs. Maybe you just need like Jason Tatum to just be terrible and then he gets like a chip on his shoulder. We'll see.
Exactly. Just turn to like Magic Johnson for a little bit and just pass.
Oh yeah, just turn into Magic Johnson, Jason Tatum. No,
Just turn into the fifth best player of all time, easily.
you mean the
Um,
first heliocentric player ever? No, no,
Yo,
wait,
check out those playoff runs.
that's the next
Damn, we should get
episode.
into that. Yeah, I like that. Heliocentrism, the up and fall of that style of basketball.
Professor
Jokic,
Professor Bones.
dude, we get into it. Why
I'm
not?
majoring in heliocentricity. James Harden's my
Damn.
professor.
Who was the guy that James Harden, dude? Who was the guy that got in trouble? Galileo.
What? That was not the
He
way.
was
I thought you were saying John Port.
no Dante. No, Jonte's getting in trouble with the Catholic Church back in the 1500s.
Dude, honestly, Galileo though, bruh.
Bro. Yeah, he was betting on the wrong sons. I'll tell you that. Sheesh.
There's no way. That's insane. Yeah, with that, I guess you want to take us away. With your Galileo looking.
Let's go, baby. We hope to be back sometime soon. I'm going to Denmark, actually. So gonna be over on the other side of the pond, as they say, in Denmark. And maybe I'll be close enough to see Laurie Markkinen and yell his name across the Baltic Sea or whatever.
Is
But
the pond the Arctic Circle at that point?
is the what in the
Is the
Arctic
pond the
Circle?
Arctic Circle if you're going? I can't.
Dang, you might be spitting geography.
But dude, come on. That's the European roots. That me not being from near Denmark at all. Just claiming them. France, Denmark.
Yo, yeah, maybe. Pretty close. Just
Stones throw away.
yeah, closer than like New York and Indiana, which is a close series, which is wild just to think about.
Wait, yeah, damn.
Probably.
Honestly, yeah, that's probably true. Spitting misinformation. We have no idea.
I think we're right.
Okay.
We got to look this up. Okay, Copenhagen to Paris. I'm calling it right now. Indianapolis to New York City. It's further away. Indianapolis to New York City. I'm calling
Are
that
we
now.
looking this up right now?
All right, Spin Hoops Pod. Pause this video if you get a chance and just put down what you think while Max looks it up.
Okay.
Do 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 do.
Okay. Are we saying driving or direct?
I mean, oh man, either. Whatever you want.
Oh yeah. Okay. So New York to Indiana is twice as short.
Fuck.
Wait, oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. There's miles conversion. I don't know why they pulled up one of them in miles to.
Oh, to Cam. Oh, that's big.
Okay, it's pretty much the same distance. They're within 100 kilometers. But
Who's
Paris to
further?
Copenhagen, Paris to Copenhagen is further.
Okay.
If you knew the how to like the formula to go from miles to kilometers, you would have got that already from me saying that. But it's okay, bro.
Dang. That's tough. Well, we can't bat 1,000 on this pod.
Usually we are, so it's like really difficult when we miss, but
Usually we get every one of these calls right.
yeah, don't look at any of our predictions from last time.
Oh man.
Well,
Well,
we overreacted to every game, but we'll take it.
literally. And we're gonna keep overreacting to every game.
Absolutely overreact.
And until then, we'll be back with you lovely people to either wrap up this round and or review the conference finals. We'll be spitting hoops, baby.